Hello there, reading fans. We're on session 9 today, and we're talking about the reading strategy that we like to call Really? And your I can statement today is I can use the really strategy to make inferences about the book I am reading. A lot of times we look at things and we try to read them with no intention. You need to have a purpose when you read. And if you don't have any other specific purpose in mind, then you should approach it with this really strategy. The really strategy is just expecting to learn something that surprises you, something that you didn't know, something that is new to you. If you use that intention of being surprised, you probably will be. There will be something, especially when you're reading articles, there will be something that you will read and just go, really? I didn't know that. Look for things you didn't know and think about what those things suggest to you. It happens in life all the time. A lot of you know that I recently had major surgery in February, right after the Super Bowl. I had a kidney transplant. And for months and months and months, I had to go through training, I guess it is. They coach you about all the things that are going to happen, all the things to expect, what it's going to be like, because it's a major surgery and it's a huge change in someone's life. It is a gift of life to you, and you can't really comprehend it until you've been through it, but they try to help you through it. So they prepared us, and my husband and I had to go to classes, and we had to do training sessions, and we had to be evaluated by psychologists, and they do all these things, and you think, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for this. And then the phone call comes, and you go, and you have your surgery, and it happens so fast that you don't have time to ask questions. They ask you if you have any questions, but you don't have time to think of them. Kind of like when I ask you that question. So here's where the oh really part comes into play. I have the surgery. Everything goes amazingly well. I'm home in 3 days. All of my checkups have been good. I've had no problems, no setbacks, no symptoms of anything. Everything's been great. Surgery was on February 3rd. In June, all of a sudden, my hair starts falling out. Now, I've had hair at least down to my waist my whole life, sometimes even longer. It's one of those things that I'm emotionally attached to. And all of a sudden, it's coming out in chunks. And I'm talking, when I lose the hair, I'm talking about fistfuls. So the next time I go to the doctor, because I have to go for checkups every month, they ask me, and they ask every time, do you have any concerns? Do you have any issues? Are you having any problems? Are you having any symptoms? And I said, no, everything is fine, except my hair seems to be falling out. And they said, oh, yes, that's a side effect of the anti-rejection drugs. Oh, really? That's a piece of information that I could have used well before I had the surgery, because it was a bit traumatic to me. And what it suggested to me was that that's not important to the doctors as far as side effects or symptoms of anything. It wasn't important enough for them to include in the training. But for me, it was very important. And I'm not saying that had I known it, I wouldn't have gone through with the surgery, but I guess I would have been a little bit more prepared for it. At this point, I have lost 80% of my hair, and it breaks my heart. And I would like to have known that. So that was my oh, really moment in that situation. So I'm going to show you how to oh, really a news article today. We're going to try it by asking questions in our head and expecting to be surprised. My question to you today, ladies and gentlemen, is what do you know about cows? Well, cows have 4 legs. We get milk from cows. Cows have multiple stomachs. Um, we hardly ever see cows lying down. And they use cows to produce milk and also beef. So those are things that we generally know about cows. But we're about to read something that I hope makes you say, oh, really? And this is an article called Video of Abuse at Dairy Farm Might Force Farmers to Treat Cows Better. So I'm going to read this article and I'm going to expect to be surprised, especially because the very first sentence in this article says a shocking video. Okay, so if it's shocking, I expect to be surprised. So go ahead, surprise me. A shocking video turned up this week. It showed farm workers slapping and poking sick and injured dairy cows. Oh, really? Now, I don't know about you, but that surprises me. And so I'm going to say to that, oh, really? And what is the oh, really about that? Well, I'm going to say over here in commercials, the cows always seem happy, right? We see all these commercials all the time about the cows, and they seem like they're happy. They seem like they're content. In fact, contented cows is part of a whole advertising campaign for a dairy company out west. So in commercials, the cows always seem happy. So what does that suggest to me? Well, it suggests to me that the dairy farmers or the dairy industry, I won't say the farmers, is deceiving us. Oops, deceiving. There we go. Okay, so it indicates that the dairy farmers they're deceiving us. They're not being honest with us if they're abusing these cows. Let's go on. The workers used heavy machinery to force the cows to their feet. The video was taken secretly. The workers are from the Weiss Brothers farm in Wisconsin. Farmers who saw the video say the treatment may not be unusual. So there's another oh really moment for me. The treatment may not be unusual? So you're telling me that they actually abuse cows a lot? Is that right? Am I reading that right? What does that tell me? Well, let's go down here. That tells me that maybe the farmers don't care about the cows. And if the farmers don't care about the cows, what does that suggest to me? Well, if they don't care about the cows, that suggests to me that maybe the farmers are not very nice. See, it doesn't have to be a huge idea, right? So let's go on. But they did say that some actions in the video may have been necessary. Quick action must be taken to get the cows on their feet. Okay, so if they have to get the cows on their feet quickly, they're doing things to get the cows on the feet. Let's go on. Otherwise, the muscles in the back of her legs turn to mush and she will never get up again. So let's look at this. Let's say back of her legs turn to mush, and she will never get up again. Okay, there's another oh, really. I've seen cows lying down before. They got up. So, what are they talking about? Well, it says they did the same, that these actions are done for a reason. Now, if you remember back up at the top, it said it showed farm workers slapping and poking sick and injured cows. So, yes, cows can get up if they lie down, but sick and injured cows might not. So, the oh, really is maybe I didn't know they could not get up again if they lay too long. Although, honestly, I should have realized that, because I know if I sit too long when I stand up, I sound like an old man. I go, oh, my legs hurt. So that makes sense, right? What does that tell me about what I'm reading, though? So again, now I thought the farmers weren't very nice, but now they're saying, well, if they don't get them up quickly, they'll never get up. And if they don't get up, what's going to happen to them? So that suggests to me that maybe the farmers have a good reason if I can spell, have a good reason to treat the cows this way. You can sneak up behind the cow, sick cow, and scream, says Rosadowski. That may scare the animal into getting up, but it doesn't always work. So, abusing the cattle, scaring them, these are all things that we look at and we think they're cruel. But there's a method to their madness, they say. There's a logic behind it. These cows have to be made to get up quickly, or they'll never be able to get back up again. But even though I'm not going to highlight something here, I'm going to put down a thought that I have. Because remember, I'm always asking you to think about what you're reading, right? So I'm going to ask a quick question here. Could there be a more humane way to do this? And we could go on and read the whole article and do the same thing all the way through. But basically what we're looking at here, and it's what I expect you to do when you read, and it wouldn't hurt for you to use a chart like this in your notebook to keep your notes. When you're reading news articles, nonfiction of any kind, this is really applicable. But you want to look for those things that make you say, really? Really? I never thought about farm workers slapping and poking sick and injured dairy cows. Why would they do that? And it makes me think, it suggests to me that all those commercials they show about how well they treat their cows and how they're grass fed and they're so well taken care of and blah, 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 blah. You know what? That's a bunch of hooey. That's what that suggests to me. And then they say, well, that treatment might not be unusual. It said it was shocking at the top, but if it's not unusual, then why is it shocking? So maybe the farmers don't even care about those cows. And the farmers are not nice people. But then the next part where it says, well, you have to kind of do this because if you don't get them up quickly, their leg muscles turn to mush and they can't get up. And if they don't get up, then I'm thinking, okay, if they don't get up, well, do they have to shoot them? Do they have to kill them then? Because they can't get up. So what else can you do? So it makes you think about a lot of different things. And that's what I want you to do as you read. I want you to think about all of these different things. So I'm going to give you an article to read today, and I'm going to ask you to make a chart like this in your notebook, or there's actually going to be a graphic organizer you can use, but I would prefer you did a chart like this. And I want you to make your really notes and what does this suggest to me notes in your digital notebooks under session 9 today. And that is all I have for you today, ladies and gentlemen. Have a lovely afternoon and take care of those cows.